Hello, welcome to the Evolving Expert Podcast, where we meet at the intersection of business strategy, conscious leadership, and aligned living to support who you are becoming. I'm Vanessa Emerson, host, and here's what we have for you today. We have a special visit with one of my dearest friends and longtime colleague and just amazing person, Dr. Laura Schwindt. Now, that's not your official bio, but that's my little personal piece. Laura is a former dentist, and she is a current certified heroic coach who helps high capacity leaders realign with their inner North Star. She blends science, soul, and radical clarity to reignite authentic leadership, restore vitality, and guide visionaries into their next evolution and legacy. Welcome, Laura. Thank you for being here. And we have a tradition on the Evolving Expert podcast of sharing a breathwork exercise as we get started. As busy professionals, we are out there doing other things. We put on a podcast so we can listen and learn. This breathwork piece helps us turn that corner and drop right into this pocket together. So I would love to ask you, do you have a favorite breathwork exercise that you could explain to us so we can maybe do for a minute or so?
I would love to. And thank you for the beautiful intro. And thank you for having me. I adore you, of course, and I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you.
And I love that we're starting with breath work. So, because it's been life-changing for me. I know that before I discovered the power of breath work, I was probably holding my breath and breathing very shallow most of the time.
Me too. Yeah.
So I do have a favorite breath work, and I actually utilize it before I eat, every time before I eat. And I do this because a lot of times before we eat, we're in go mode, right? So our body's going, and if we don't kind of signal to it that, hey, we need to slow down and enjoy this food and digest it, we can end up with a pretty severe tummy ache.
Yeah.
And not really then digest and absorb the nutrients of all the good food that we just ate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's super simple, and I like to suggest to people that the counting piece of it doesn't necessarily matter. My rhythm is 5 and 10, so counting for a count of 5 on the inhale, and then a count of 10 on the exhale. And when I exhale, I actually hum.
Oh,
Yeah, because humming stimulates the vagus nerve, which really gets us into the parasympathetic mode quicker. And
I love
so
that.
I would love to lead a minute or so of that 5-10. And just know that for you, it may be 4-8, it may be 6-12. Basically, the exhale is twice as long as the inhale.
I love that.
Yeah.
But
All right.
really, you get all the breath out and you let go of all the stress.
Yeah.
Love it. Let's do it.
All right. So just important, making sure that our shoulders are back so that our lungs can actually fill up. Our head is upright, head up, chin down, just so we have space for that breath to go. All right, and we're going to inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then exhale for 10 while we hum. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. And one more time. Inhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. And exhale. Nice. There we go. That's my favorite one.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. That was lovely. There is something very special about the humming. I'm gonna definitely incorporate that. Helps so much with our digestion to calm down. Thank you,
Right?
thank you, thank
You're
you.
welcome. Thank you. Yeah.
You have so many great tips, seriously. So let's dive into some of the strategies or tips that you might share in some of the areas that we tend to talk about on this podcast, which we can start with career strategy. As we come into this lovely space now that we're all relaxed, I'm wondering, as you think back on your career, you have been a dentist, you've helped many professionals from the standpoint of, life coaching, personal coaching, career, different types of coaching. Is there one specific career strategy that to you like rises above all the others or is most important to you? Or like what pops the top of mind for you?
Yeah, I think that, and it was highlighted to me just in the last year, several people saying the same thing to me, which made me think about this. And I just didn't realize that this was a strategy of mine, but it obviously is one that's very important and has served me very well. And that is just real active listening when I'm speaking with someone. And so, the curiosity of that active listening, I think is fun. That's fun for me. Like I enjoy being curious and trying to figure out what else there is to hear about what this person is saying. Almost like, and I think this is from Sonia Liebenmersky, who is the author of The How of Happiness, but she says active listening is like listening, expecting that there might be a quiz afterwards,
Oh, yeah,
right? And
it's
so,
clear.
yeah, and by doing that, it's amazing what you learn. Like, it's fun that you bring this up because just this morning I was out walking my dog and I ran into somebody in my building that I know, and he had on orange shoes. And I was like, oh, I love your orange shoes. And it could have just ended there, right? Like, and he said, thank you. And I said, is orange your favorite color? And then it just went into a beautiful conversation. And yes, orange is his favorite color. And I said, well, how did it become your favorite color? Like curiosity, tell me more, tell me more. And it all stemmed from a trip that he took to Japan. And that the color orange there to Japanese means good luck. And so they have those pagodas or whatever that you walk under, and they're all orange because when you walk under them, then that's supposed to bring you good luck.
Wow.
And then he went on to say how when he was there, they were very attentive to the environment, like there's no garbage. And if there happens to be a piece of garbage, somebody picks it up. And they're very respectful of everybody else. Like they're not going to be too loud in a public setting because, they want to be respectful of everybody. They wear masks when they're sick, not because they don't want to get sick, but to help prevent other people from getting sick. And so just by commenting on orange shoes, I learned so much about him that I didn't know before. I know he cares about the environment. I know he cares about kindness. I know he cares about the human race as a whole. And I know that he enjoys bright, happy things. He believes in a little of the woo-woo, which I love, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that is such a beautiful business strategy to just take, because that knowing that about him now, the next time I see him, I'll be able to connect that in some way, shape, or form. And that makes him feel heard. It makes him feel seen. And he'll always remember how I made him feel.
Hmm. That's a great story. What I heard there was active listening with curiosity as well,
Mm.
right? So there's that piece.
Mm. Yeah, I love that you bring this up because this is something that way back when, in another lifetime, when I had a dental practice, I encouraged my team to do is to active listen with patients. And then we, in the front office area in a cupboard, we had stationery and stickers and markers. And so if somebody heard something during their appointment with the patient, like they're celebrating an anniversary or their dog is sick or, anything, they would take the time to create a card. Hey, I'm thinking about you. I know your dog is sick. I just want you to know that, if you want to send us a picture of your dog or lighten the load, let us know. But just thinking of you, or happy anniversary. We hope you had a great time at the dinner you were planning. Just
Oh,
those little
nice.
touches, and then they'd send them, bop them out in the mail. And I've continued that. Like when somebody says something, like I was on a call the other day, and the person I was chatting with said how much she loves stickers. She absolutely loves stickers. So you know what? And when I see stickers that remind me of her, I'm going to pick them up and I'm going to bop them in the mail and brighten her day. And so I think that that's an amazing business strategy that is different, unique, and doesn't get utilized much anymore. We're all email and text, right?
Right, right. What I hear in that is really nurturing relationships in a very personal and powerful way, because who doesn't want to be seen and heard? And that's what
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing is like that we can apply that in so many areas. Um, we're all, I think we all have the opportunity to be a leader, a self-directed leader. So in those situations, no matter what our job is, we all have that ability, because I'm hearing conscious leadership and what you're talking about as well, like listening to others and um, acting appropriately, right? Like how we would follow up or how we would have empathy or like whatever it calls for with that curiosity and the listening. But before we talk more about conscious leadership, which is where we're going to go like in the with our next segment, I wanted to share that you have a guide, the North Star Recalibration Guide. Could you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, thank you. And this is born from a personal experience, and which I think everything we do in life usually stems from a personal experience. I remember being very dedicated high achiever. I was on a mission to go, go, go all the time, to, get to the next box, check it off, go, go, go. And somewhere in that journey, I completely lost touch with myself, who I was, what my virtues were, what was important to me, my values, and because of that, I made decisions that didn't reflect that and weren't authentic to me, which led me even farther away from my true self. Um, and so I had a guide, that helped me rediscover that. My very first life coach was my first guide. And I think that we all can benefit from guides in our life. And so the North Star Recalibration Guide is really just a thoughtful worksheet that goes through the main pillars: work, energy, love, relationships, connecting, purpose, just with some gentle reflection questions and guides, and then some lightly suggested action steps that you can take to rediscover your North Star, because everybody has one. Everybody has their North Star. And what I love about this is that I need to recalibrate all the time. I mean, life hits, things happen, and sometimes we go down a path where we're like, whoa, wait a minute. And so just to assure everyone that you can reuse this over and over again. And what I like to say is, I notice when I start to feel kind of prickly or ornery or just not myself, it's a good time for a recalibration and just be like, ooh, where maybe I'm not upholding one of my virtues that's really important to me. Or maybe I'm not using one of my strengths and it's just wanting to come out, right? And so this recalibration is just something, if you've never done it, at first is going to feel a little foreign, but the more you practice it, you can come back to it over and over again and use it to really rediscover your North Star over and over again.
I love that. So really it's a tool, right? It's a resource and a tool so that when we feel like I often call it like the spin cycle.
Yes,
Sometimes it feels like
yes.
you just can't like make the room stop spinning and then maybe like catch up. So a
Yeah.
tool to help you be able to like recenter. So on your website,
Mhm.
lauraschwindt.com, and I will put this in our show notes, lauraschwindt.com. The North Star Recalibration is available as a complimentary download,
Mhm.
which is so cool. Thank you for creating such fabulous resources and sharing them so freely.
Yeah.
I think that is something that a conscious leader does.
Mm.
I would like to ask you, what is conscious leadership to you? And can you share with us maybe a moment that feels like where you've experienced or somehow seen conscious leadership in action?
Mm. Yeah, that's a beautiful question. And I love that because there's so many people that come to mind when I think of conscious leadership. Um, what conscious leadership means to me, I'll start there, is really self leadership, really tuning into who you are at your best, how you operate with a good soul, and sharing that with the world, right? In service to something bigger than yourself. I think that's what conscious leadership is. And it can be as simple as, you know what? I make sure that I take care of myself so that I can show up with the right energy, with the right zest to lead, to be an example. And I make choices during the day to honor that energy, right? And so, and I'm also doing that in service to something bigger than myself. So when you say, thank you for creating this free resource, you know, part of my service to the world is to be a guide for others, right? Because I think that's what it's all about. Honestly, is we go off and we do something and we make a bunch of mistakes and we figure things out and we learn and then we come back and we, you know, hold the hand of someone that's 10 steps behind us and say, hey, let's go together and I'm going to help you through this and I'm going to tell you what I learned and I'm going to show you maybe some of the steps that you could take to avoid some of the pain that I went through, right? So yeah, I think that's conscious leadership to me. And it starts with you, but then you have a duty, you have a obligation to bring that gift, what you learn through that to the world.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Where can we each feel called to share and serve? Maybe serve is a good word here too.
Mhm.
And respond versus react and those type of things, right? Oh, I love that. I know some things about you. Like I've known you a long time, right? And I know that you're involved as a heroic coach, and I feel like having participated in your workshop, I feel like what you're helping craft isn't the right word, but like guide our conscious leaders and those that live in alignment. I'd like to kind of like see how we can blend those concepts and talk about it through the focus of some of your work that you do with heroic.
Mhm.
Before I go there, I do want to point out on that same website, lauraschwindt.com, you have an upcoming events, I believe is what the um, upcoming events where we'll be able to learn a little bit more about those workshops and how we can work with you. But can you tell us a little bit more about like what is that work like? How did you step into heroic? Like what drew you there, and what is that?
Mm.
To be able to share with our listeners. And then ultimately where I'd like to take that is like, how does conscious leadership and living in alignment even, it feels like it merges really well for me. And I'm assuming you see the same. I'd love to hear you build that out a little more for us.
Yeah, thank you. Um, I stumbled across heroic. It was COVID, actually. It was the year of COVID, and my husband had kind of been following the founder of Heroic, Brian Johnson. He had been putting out material for years before it turned into first Optimize and now Heroic. And he said, I think you'd like this. I think, you should check it out. So I did.
Right.
And yeah, right. And I was immediately just like, yes, this is something that resonates with me on such a deep internal level. Yes, I'm all in. And so that's when I, just said, yes, I'm going to go through the coaching program. And the coaching program is really unique in the sense that we are client zero. So we, for over 300 days, adopt everything that we then will support our clients with. So, and we had accountability. We had to show that we were adopting it. And as I was doing this, I was like, this is what, if I had all this when I was in dental school, when I was a new dentist, I know my life would have been completely different. It would have been radically better. And I would have been a better conscious leader for my team, for my practice. And so at that moment, I made a vow and I said, I'm going to bring this to the profession I love. But what's really cool about Heroic is it's a public benefit corporation. And so it's a corporation. What that means, it's a corporation, it's a for-profit corporation. But the other piece of it is that they focus on social and environmental impact as well.
Oh, nice.
Yes. And so, and their shareholders hold them responsible for that. And so other public benefit corporations that you may know are like Patagonia is a public benefit corporation. Ben and Jerry's is a public benefit corporation.
Cool.
I know, yeah. So, but they have a conscious leadership that is at their heart, and that resonates with me too. And really, the whole piece of it is bringing that self leadership into the play, so that if you show up as the best version of yourself, moment to moment to moment, you're able to serve. You're able to be that guide for others. And so it all starts with us, client zero. And it starts every day. Day one, every single day, we have an opportunity to reset and show up as the best version of ourselves. And so that really resonated with me, because I feel like our world can become so autopilot, where we are just reacting and we aren't taking that moment to pause and say, how can I respond to this? How can I respond to this aligning with my values and my virtues? So that at the end of the day, and I call this the pillow test, at the end of the day, when I put my head down on my pillow, I say, wow, I held up my end of the bargain today. I did well.
Right. That fulfillment in life, right? And also feeling like that life of significance. It was significant that we were here. We were able to, again, leave the world a better place. I love that. So I know that you do some coaching and some teaching in this area. You're speaking, your workshops in this area. But what we're talking about with conscious leadership and aligned living, like, what does living in alignment mean to you personally? What does that mean to you?
Yeah. I'm a feeling person. I feel, right? And so I always kind of go into that feeling. And this is obviously before I recognized recalibration and I got away from myself, I kind of got away from being able to be in tune with that. But to me, being aligned means that your heart and soul is on board with your actions, and your actions are on board with your heart and soul.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
That's such a great way to explain it because we can all understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But tell me a little more about what that feels like for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so when I'm operating from that, for me it feels like, and I like to describe this as glimmers. I have glimmers of joy. I have glimmers of happiness. I just feel, that feeling when you just feel good. Like, when you're a little kid and, that somebody brings you a present and you're just so excited, you just have that feeling. And I love tuning into that because I know when I don't feel that way, when I'm starting to feel, just I call it prickly or ornery or short, irritable. Sometimes that can be because I'm not honoring my energy. Maybe I'm pushing through and trying to work too long without a break, right? Some of it can be very simple like that. But
Hmm.
sometimes it can be because I'm not honoring my soul and my heart, my virtues and my ideals. Um,
Right.
yeah. And so it's a good kind of tune in to be like, oh, yeah, that maybe that's what's going on here. And I need to recalibrate, restep, reset. And I think that's so important is to just take some time and sit with those emotions and ask, what's going on here? Why am I not aligned? What can I do to become aligned again?
Hmm. So it's really a strategy, for lack of a better word. It's a practice. It's an understanding of what it means to live in alignment. And then those tools like the recalibration, the North Star recalibration, um, tools and resources like that, and strategies help pull it together, help pull us together, help pull us into more of an alignment place of always striving for balance. That's what I'm hearing us say. I'm wondering if there is one truth in particular that you find yourself returning to when life feels challenging, right? Because we talked about like,
Mm,
this is what it feels like to be in alignment. It feels joyful, it feels um, light. And then everyone goes through like that dark night of the soul, periodically we have big challenges. What is the one truth that Laura finds herself returning to when there's just such uncertainty, and that we're in the spin cycle? What is that one
mm,
truth?
mm, mm. I think what I always come back to, and heroic put this into words for me that I didn't recognize, but they talk about being anti-fragile a lot. And I love this word. And so fragile, we all know you break, right? Is easily broken. And a lot of people think the opposite of fragile is resilient.
Mhm.
So resilient is you can handle stress. You take on stress, you can handle it. But one step further than that is anti-fragility, which literally means that when something hits you, stress, a challenge, you bounce back stronger. And so that is something that they put into words for me, but that is something I've always held in life as I look back at challenges and I'm like, oh, I learned so much. Or that happened and that set me up for this. And so it was actually a gift. It was actually a blessing. Um, and I'm not saying that there aren't crazy, awful challenges that we all go through that maybe in the moment don't have a feeling of reasoning. But usually, fast forward, you can look back and find at least one glimmer of learning or something that you can thank that challenge for. And so whenever another challenge happens, when I go into spin cycle or the world goes into chaos, like it has several times, every other day in the last few years, um, I recognize that, you know what, obstacles make me stronger. I'm going to learn from this. There's going to be something that I can look back and say, yes, this is happening for a reason. Life is happening for me, not to me. And so I really hold on to that anytime it gets challenging. And not that I don't go into pity mode every now and then. I'm human. I'm not perfect. I do go into pity
You have
mode every now.
emotion.
Yes. But and this is another heroic tool, then I spend some time in pity mode, and then I say, okay, now what do I want? What needs to be done? Let's take some action, and mood follows action, and I can get myself out of that pity mode. So,
You're really talking about some, again, tools and resources and strategies that help us with mindset, right? That really help us be able to. Adulting is hard. My family says that adulting is hard, right? It can be hard. Let's put it that way. It's hard until it's not. And what I'm hearing you say is that maybe you even kind of enjoy challenge from knowing that on the other side, it's like dancing with it. It's like the Aikido of the martial arts. It's like the moving that energy and just like welcoming that punch that comes at you, but yet deflecting it and dancing with it. Like in Aikido, it's like that whole idea of like, here comes this challenge, but I know I'm going to be okay. It's all going to be okay. I'm going to be stronger and letting it go. I mean, that's what visually came to me as you were sharing. I think it's all so powerful. There's so many great strategies and practices and philosophies and tools that you share from your years of coaching and all that you've done to help so many. Before we go, is there anything that we haven't talked about today that would be important to share? What might that be, if anything?
You know, I'm just going to piggyback on your comment about adulting is hard. And I think one of the mindset shifts that really helped me, and it started way back when I went through my life coaching with Heroic, but was that there is always going to be pain, uncertainty, and hard work.
Yeah.
And that's from Phil Stutz. He's a psychiatrist he wrote the book The Tools, and he's an amazing human. But to just accept that, like, you know what, we're never going to arrive at nirvana, where everything is grand and there's unicorns and cotton candy everywhere and there's no challenge. And thank goodness, because we need challenge. We need purpose. We need something to work through, to work towards as humans. We flourish when we have a challenge, when we have things to work through. And so, there can be moments when you arrive for a little bit, and you're on vacation and you're sitting back and you're relaxing. But we're not built to stay on vacation forever. And life's not going to let us stay there.
We would be bored, right? And it feels like too, like sometimes like relationships are hard, but like relationships what life is about. Like the fact that if we were just one, there'd be nothing of interest, right?
Yeah.
And so, thank you for being here and sharing your heart. How do we find out like more about you and like how to work with you? Can you share with us how do we find you?
Yeah, you bet. My email, if you want to send me an email, is laura@drlauraschwindt.com. And my website is just lauraschwindt.com. And I am on Instagram at Dr. Laura Schwindt. So any of those ways, I love to receive messages. I absolutely love to have conversations. So if anyone would want to work through a challenge or a goal, please set up a conversation, 100% complimentary, absolutely no strings attached. Let's do it. Let's dig in and have some fun.
Oh, Love that. And I would just say, I mean, you have been my coach for different things over the years, and I just have always really appreciated your ability to actively listen with curiosity and to be able to help me through some challenges. So thank you for what you mean to me personally. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for sharing with our audience. Um, Before we go, a reminder to like and subscribe so that you don't miss an episode of the podcast. If you have a few moments, please leave us your comments, leave us a review. I know Laura would love to see those, as I will. It will help others discover the podcast if we do these things. Remember, lauraschwindt.com is the website. And Laura, thanks again for being here today. And it means a lot to me personally.
Oh, well, thanks for all that you're doing to expand conscious leadership and aligned living. I know that I respect and admire you so much for the ways that you stay aligned with your virtues and your values. You're a radiant exemplar in the world, and I thank you for your influence.
Thank you. Listen, I'll cut our love fest off now for our listeners, and then we can continue to love on each other.
Awesome.
Be there. We'll see you next time. Be there. Aloha. And until then, be well, everyone. We'll see you next time.